Okay, so welcome back. Now, in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to examine the different kinds of approach that you can have for your essay. So, often, once you've developed a line of arguments and put that into an introduction, the next question is, well, how do we go about ordering the argument? Now, in previous videos, what we've done is we've looked at paragraph flow. We've looked at how one paragraph can flow into another. But the overall kind of structure of the essay can be determined by the sort of approach that you're going to take. And it very much depends on the question. So there are no hard and fast rules here. There are only kind of suggestions that I have. So here we're going to look at some of the different kinds of approach or essay style approach that you can adopt. Okay, so I just want to go back one. So let's look at this first one here. To what extent was Thomas Wolsey's downfall the result of his own mistakes? So again, you might not be doing this topic area, but that doesn't really matter. So in 1529, Thomas Wolsey finds himself in hot water with Henry VIII. Fortunately for him, dies the following year, knowing that he was unable to handle the king's divorce, the king's great matter. So the question here, to what extent was Thomas Wolsey's downfall the result of his own mistakes? The moment you get a question like that, it's going to be asking you to compare the actions of Wolsey along with other factors. So you're never going to be in a position where you say it was completely Wolsey. You're never going to be in a position where you say it completely wasn't Wolsey. You're comparing Wolsey with the actions of others and with other events happening around him. So this is an evaluative approach. You're evaluating. You're saying, on the balance of probabilities, these factors were more important than those factors. Now, there are aspects of chronology here. So the evaluation comes first. What you're not doing is telling the great long historical story. But it's important, and just for the simplicity of the evaluation, to put factors in roughly a chronological order, the order in which things happen. But the main focus of the essay is more on the evaluation than saying this happened, then this happened. Here we have the historiographical debate. Now, previously, a couple of videos ago, we were talking about different historical interpretations. Here, we have a question: the British generals in 1916 were donkeys leading lions. How valid is this point of view? Every time you hear something like that, a saying, the generals were donkeys, it's probably been said by a historian before. In this case, it certainly has, particularly a fraudulent and dishonest one called Alan Clark, who made up the quote. Now, if you know anything about this topic area, you will know that there have been several different historians that have had several different points of view about the competence of the generals. So here, the focus of your essay is to focus on the claims that you can tie to a particular historian. Here it's talking about Alan Clark, and the trick really is to discuss how valid his point of view actually was, and the answer in short is not very. And then look at other historians within the field who have said different things. And what you're doing here is not so much comparing and contrasting historical events, but you're comparing and contrasting different historical arguments, and then you can bring in your own knowledge. Now, you'll be pleased to know that in each of the study modules that I've created here on Nazi Germany and Soviet Russia and other stuff, I've created a section on historical interpretations. That is very, very important that if you're studying that area, that you read it and understand it, and then you will know the ways in which Nazi Germany and other topic areas have been discussed in the past. Okay, and one final slide. The chronological and the evaluative. So here, what was the biggest factor that had? What was the factor that had the biggest impact on Russia in 1917 to 1991? So you're looking at an outline study, not a depth study, an outline study that lasts for a century period. So probably looking at it in slightly more chronological manner would be okay. It's okay to put things in their historical order, but you don't want to do that at the expense of the evaluation. So let's say we're looking at Russia in 1917 to 24. You could say war, the First World War and the Russian Civil War had a huge impact. However, one could argue that political change and economic change had a significant impact too. So within each time frame, you use the competing factors to evaluate against one another. And you might even say that war, politics, and economics can't be distinct, can't be sort of disentangled. That they're all kind of there are sort of factors of causation towards one another, and it's at that point that your remarks start to really significantly improve. Anyway, I'm going to leave those there, but there are chronological, evaluative, and historiographical approaches to ordering your paragraphs. And in the next video, what we'll do is we'll look at how we could start to build each one of these different kinds of essay: the chronological, the evaluative, and the historiographical.